Warnings of attacks against American citizens and soldiers stationed in the Middle East. Tehran has threatened retaliation for American bombing of nuclear facilities. Militants in Yemen and Iraqi militias financed by Iran have already announced attacks on US units. In Europe, intelligence services are warning of possible terrorist attacks. Iranian leaders are seeking support from allies and vow not to lay down their arms until they have punished Israel and America. Israel wants to finish the job. This is how analysts describe the next wave of bombings. After the US strike on the nuclear facilities of the Iranian nuclear program, Tel Aviv is mainly targeting the regime's security apparatus. At the moment, we are continuing to destroy the Iranian regime's ability to launch and produce missiles. Air Force planes are intensifying their attacks in the Tehran area, focusing on the Revolutionary Guard Command and all elements that pose a threat to the state of Israel. According to Israeli media, Tel Aviv is slowly exploring the possibility of ending its operations against Iran. The American strike may have been employed to give Netanyahu the option of withdrawing from the conflict. Israeli forces are finding it increasingly difficult to repel Iranian missile attacks. The aim of the operation was to destroy Iran's nuclear program, and according to Israel, it was successful.
And it's a fake.
I have no doubt that the Iranian regime wants to eliminate us. That is why we launched this operation, to put an end to specific threats to our existence, the nuclear threat and the ballistic missile threat. We are making progress step by step to achieve these goals, and we are very close to achieving them. However, Iran will not leave the attacks by Israel and the United States unanswered. The regime has announced strikes on military bases throughout the region. In Qatar, the US Embassy has ordered its citizens to find safe shelter. In Syria and Iraq, US military bases have been targeted by pro-Iranian militias operating there. In Yemen, Houthi militants have announced a return to attacks on Western tankers and commercial shipping heading for the Suez Canal. We will not allow any side issues to distract us from focusing on defending our beloved Iran. What matters to us now is the decisive defense of Iran's essence and the repulsion of evil enemy, who, with the support of the United States and some European countries, has started an unjust war against this country. Western Europe may also find itself in the crosshairs of terrorist groups linked to Iran. Swedish authorities are warning of possible attacks. The regime in Tehran believes that during last week's negotiations in Geneva, representatives of France and the United Kingdom were well aware of the planned American strike.
The timing, nature, and the scale of Iran's proportionate response will be decided by its armed forces. Throughout history, the resilient and united Iranian nation has withstood deeper wounded and faced more vicious enemies, and this time too. It will show its dignity, strength, and greatness to the world.
Given the moves made by the Iranian authorities, Iran is desperately seeking support, perhaps not only to exert diplomatic pressure on the West. The Iranian foreign minister traveled to Moscow to meet war criminal Putin, where he received guarantees of Russian support. These aggressive actions by Israel and the United States are completely illegal and violate international rules and norms. We are defending our sovereignty and our country, and our defense is justified. Iran's decision to possibly block the Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of the world's oil is transported daily, may be crucial. Such a decision will primarily affect Europe, but also China, which may delay Tehran's final decision. According to analysts, this war, even if Israel efficiently ends the operation, will continue as long as the Ayatollah regime rules in Tehran.
There's also the possibility that in the weeks ahead, this devolves into basically a very familiar piece of the Israeli-Iranian story, where the two sides go at one another with cyber, with assassinations, with black ops, an occasional strike or two. Iran relies on its proxies.
The overthrow of the regime, at least for now, is rather unlikely without an external strike. The elimination of the supreme leader will make him a martyr and, as has happened in the past, will unite the nation. On the other hand, the internal structures of the Iranian authorities are currently in disarray and incapable of attempting to overthrow the leader, especially since, in wartime conditions, such actions would clearly be perceived as treason.